The everyman play begins with every man walking through life, content and oblivious to his fate, much like someone wandering through a marketplace, engrossed in the distractions of daily life. However, this sense of ease is interrupted when death, summoned by God, arrives to inform every man that his time on earth is over. The lively world around him fades into darkness as every man is forced to confront the reality of his impending death. Desperate and unprepared, every man begs death for more time, trying to delay the inevitable journey to meet his maker. But death remains firm, giving him a single hope. He can bring one companion with him to the grave, provided he finds someone willing to accompany him. This sets every man off on a desperate search, turning the colorful marketplace into a somber wasteland. In this quest, every man first seeks out his friend, Fellowship, representing the bonds of friendship. The scene shifts to a lively tavern, filled with warmth and promise. Fellowship, full of cheer, listens to every man's worries and promises unwavering loyalty, much like friends might in the comfort of a bustling pub. Fellowship's words bring every man a glimmer of hope. However, when every man reveals that his journey leads to death, the warmth of the tavern turns cold. Fellowship, like the fading embers of a fire, retracts his promises, unwilling to face such a grim fate. He flees, leaving every man alone in the desolate tavern, a stark reminder that even the closest friendships cannot withstand the test of death. Abandoned by Fellowship, every man seeks help from his family, turning to kindred and cousin. The scene moves to a grand family estate, symbolizing the strength of familial bonds. Here, in the heart of the mansion, kindred and cousin initially pledge their loyalty, claiming that family stands together in all situations. But as soon as every man explains that the journey leads to the grave, the mansion begins to crumble. The loyalty of family, like the fragile walls of an old house, collapses under the weight of death's reality. Kindred and cousin make their excuses and flee, much like dust blown away by the wind, leaving every man feeling more isolated than ever. Turning now to his material possessions, every man calls upon goods, the embodiment of wealth and worldly assets. Goods appears in the form of a treasure chest, gleaming with gold and riches. Throughout his life, every man has believed that his wealth would provide security, as if it were a fortress. However, Goods coldly explains that he cannot accompany every man on this journey. The treasure chest slams shut, the once glittering gold turning into cold, heavy chains that bind every man down. Goods reveals that a life spent in pursuit of wealth only damages the soul, leaving every man in an even darker place. The fortress of wealth crumbles into ruins, exposing the futility of trusting material possessions in the face of death. Alone and desolate, every man is left in a dark bar. In a wilderness of despair, Good Deeds appears, weak and frail. She tells every man that she has been neglected for too long, making her too weak to help him. However, unlike the others, Good Deeds does not abandon every man. She introduces him to her sister, Knowledge, who leads him to confession. Through his sincere penance, every man strengthens Good Deeds, who begins to bloom like a flower. For the first time, every man finds true support in his journey, realizing that only through repentance can his good deeds grow strong enough to accompany him. With Good Deeds now at his side, every man gains the support of discretion, strength, beauty, and 5 wits. Together, they are like travelers setting off from a small village, confident and ready to face the road ahead. Knowledge stays close by, guiding every man to receive the holy sacraments. As they make their way through the world, every man feels more assured, knowing that his companions will strengthen him on the final leg of his journey. The journey becomes steeper and harder to walk. The road turns into a rocky and desolate mountainside, and one by one, his companions begin to fall away. Beauty, like a delicate flower, is the first to wither and fade, leaving every man. Next, strength weakens, like a once mighty tree that can no longer stand against the winds of time. Discretion falters, unable to keep going, and even 5 wits, representing his senses, deserts him in the final stretch. The travelers who once seemed so strong have now left every man to face the dark and narrow grave alone, save for Good Deeds, the only companion willing to continue with him until the very end. Finally, every man reaches the grave, standing at the edge of a deep, dark chasm. The scene is silent, as if the world has fallen away, leaving only the cold, dark earth. With good deeds beside him, every man steps into the grave, and as he does, the darkness begins to lighten. An angel appears, welcoming every man into heaven, assuring him that his soul has been saved because of the strength of his good deeds. The barren wasteland of death is transformed into a shining celestial city, a place of light and peace. As the play draws to a close, a doctor steps forward to deliver the final message. In life, only good deeds will follow a person into death. All other things, friends, family, beauty, strength, and wealth, will eventually abandon them. The only path to salvation is through living a virtuous life, building up good deeds to carry with you. Them